It's time for sports.
And good morning, Hudson Valley. I'm Steve Siaka alongside my partner Thomas Beal, and welcome to another jam-packed edition of LTCC Sports.
That's right, Steve. This weekend saw so much sports action, as some have dubbed it a Sportsmageddon. So let's not waste any time and dive right into the action. We get started with Rangers Caps, Game 2. Some playoff hockey for you here coming in Madison Square Garden. And Chris Kreider starts things off with the early goal. But we know Henrik Lundqvist is going to have to be so big this series for the Rangers with a huge sprawling save here on Alex Ovechkin. Take another look. Ovechkin tries to go upstairs. Lundqvist says no. All right, late in the first period, Rangers on the power play. Dan Boyle with the slap shot that somehow beats Braden Holtby. Holtby probably wants that one back, but it's a 2-goal lead for the Rangers going into intermission. Now Ovechkin in the second period, always so dangerous. Spinorama backhand pass, and a sprawling save again by Lundqvist on Kuznetsov. Now Kuznetsov just moments later, he'll dump one in. Jason Chimera will beat two Rangers defenders, throw one on net, and Kuznetsov gets his revenge on Lundqvist there to make it 2-1. It would stay that way going into the third period when all of a sudden Martin St. Louis throws a pass to flex out front to Derek Brassard on the doorstep. He won't miss from there, folks. 3-1 Rangers, they regain the 2-goal lead. And let's take another look at this one here. St. Louis, the veteran, with the hustle, gets to the loose puck, and a nice deflection right to Brassard. Now Ovechkin trying to even the score, make it closer from his knees as he splits two defenders, goes over Lundqvist's shoulder, his second goal of the series, and that's why he's a Hart Trophy finalist. So many goals this year, few prettier than that one, but it would not be enough. Final seconds, Ovechkin tries to get one more chance. It goes wide. Rangers win this game, even the series at 1 as we go back to Washington for Game 3.
Talking about the NHL, 3 other series are in progress as well. The Chicago Blackhawks lead the Minnesota Wild in this series, the Anaheim Ducks lead the Calgary Flames, and the Tampa Bay Lightning lead the Montreal Canadiens. All being 2-0. Chicago won game 1 by a score of 4-1. These teams have each seen each other in the playoffs the last 2 years in a row, with Chicago advancing both times. Minnesota is still looking to grab their first road win in the Chicago arena. Anaheim won their match by a score of 3-0. Anaheim will be the first team to win their first 6 postseason games since the Pittsburgh Penguins won their first 7 in 2008 when they lost to Detroit in the finals. This series is heading back to Calgary, where the Flames look to use their home advantage to get them back in the series. Tampa Bay defeated Montreal in a runaway, scoring 6 goals to Montreal's 2. Montreal lost their cool and took 13 penalties in this game, allowing the both to score 4 of their goals on the power play. Tampa Bay had gone into this game being 0-23 on the power play, failing to score on a 4-minute advantage in the first period when they went on to score on the next 4 opportunities and cruised the rest of the way.
Well, it's not early May in Kentucky without 2 things, horses and mint juleps. And this past weekend, there was plenty of both. First on Friday afternoon, when lovely Maria brought home the lilies for the Phillies by taking home the Kentucky Oats, giving 56-year-old jockey Kerwin Clark his first Grade 1 stakes win. Then Saturday saw the 141st running of the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs. While there may have been plenty of horses in the field, in reality there may have been just one, as jockey Victor Espinoza rode to his 2nd straight Kentucky Derby atop American Pharoah in an absolutely dominating performance. Pharoah will now head to the Preakness Stakes while looking to become the first horse to win the coveted Triple Crown since the firm did so all the way back in 1978. Be sure to stay tuned after the break as we continue to cover this past week in sports. There's still so much more you don't want to miss.
That's my bad. It says in my fucking... It says in the fucking thing. Welcome back to LTCC Sports. I know you're excited to hop in the ring, but first, a little hoop in the forms of some NBA playoff action. The first round of the NBA playoffs has come to a close, and now only 8 teams remain in the hunt for the NBA championship. Here on the East Coast, the #1 seed Atlanta Hawks soared to victory over the hometown Brooklyn Nets, 4-2, with the series tied at 2 apiece. The Hawks came alive and won the final 3 games, the last of which was a 24-point victory Saturday. In an upset, the 5th seed Washington Wizards took down the #4 Toronto. The Raptors won 49 games this season, a franchise record, but the young duo of John Wall and Bradley Beal swept the favorites and helped the Wizards earn another shot at an upset as they are taking on the Hawks in the semifinals. Having already won Game 1 yesterday, they are off to a great start. LeBron James and the #2 Cleveland Cavaliers swept a young Boston Celtics squad that just didn't have the firepower or defensive expertise to combat James, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Love. Not even the late-season acquisition, Isaiah Thomas, who led the Celtics into the playoffs, could be the hero for this overmatched squad. The #3 Chicago Bulls thought they had a series against the Milwaukee Bucks in the bag, going up 3-0, but after dropping the next 2, they were at a risk of playing 7-game series. But a high-powered offensive effort and some stifling defense by the Bulls in Game 6 resulted in a 120-66 blowout and a matchup of King James and company. In the Western Conference, the Golden State Warriors did what they do best: win. The #1 seed swept Anthony Davis and his New Orleans Pelicans. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were too much to handle. As usual, the Splash Brothers combined to average almost 59 points in this game this series. The defensive-minded 5th seed Memphis Grizzlies made short work of the Portland Trail Blazers, upsetting the #4 seed 4-1. Grizzlies stars Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol proved to be the better duo, besting Portland's LaMarcus Aldridge and Damian Lillard. The Grizzlies suffered a blowout at the hands of the Splash Brothers in their first semifinal game yesterday. The Houston Rockets came out of the Battle of Texas on top. James Harden, the 2nd seed, handled the 7th seed Dallas Mavericks 4-1. It was a case of a younger team taking advantage of a team with aging stars like Dirk Nowitzki and Tyson Chandler. The Rockets will have their hands full in the semifinals as they are facing off against Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan and the rest of the dunk-happy Clippers.
In what became the series of the round, Saturday saw the decisive Game 7 of the Clippers and Spurs series, and oh, what a game it was. I just love Game 7s, don't you, Steve? I would have thought this would be more of a conference finals type matchup instead of a first-round series, but it's great basketball either way. Chris Paul off the steal in the first quarter here. Maybe a push-off on Tony Parker, but he nails the 3. But as we look at the replay, you see Paul grabbing his hammy, and that's not good. He'd have to leave the game, and we'll see what happens for the Clippers here. Jamal Crawford picking up the slack. Nice finish for 2. It turns out Paul's absence would be short-lived. He comes back in the second quarter, and look at him go to work. He doesn't look hurt at all. The fadeaway jumper, silky smooth. Paul knocks it down. Then here in the third quarter, Paul for 3. He's got that one too. 27 points, 6 assists for Paul, but the Spurs would make it a game. Down 4. Marco Bellinelli to Danny Green. He knocks down the 3, 65-64. Now Chris Paul, another steal here as we wind down the third quarter. Are you kidding me? Look at this shot. I guess when you're hot, and Chris Paul was on fire. 1-point lead for the Clippers as we head into the fourth quarter. The Spurs ball movement, their staple all season long, leads to a Ginobili 3 there. It seemed like every basket there was a lead change. Boris Diaw inside to Duncan, he gets 2 of his 27, and then Parker getting to the hoop with Paul on him, and the tough finish puts the Spurs up by 1 with 4 to play. Now a few rebounds here. Spurs unable to finish, but the ball eventually finds its way into the hands of Duncan, and he flips it up for 2. Now on the other end, Clippers down 3. Matt Barnes, he knocks down the 3. Of all people, Matt Barnes hits the big shot, and we're tied at 105, under 2 minutes to play. Blake Griffin gets rejected by Danny Green, and the Spurs will lead it the other way. And after a series here, Green would get an opportunity from 3. Can't make the shot, but more offensive rebounds for the Spurs, and Tony Parker puts it in. Now 107-105, Jamal Crawford comes right back and scoops in the layup. We're tied again. And the series has been so close, would literally come down to the final second as Paul, to win the series, off the glass, he gets the runner. The Clippers will take Game 7 as we take another look. The hamstring not bothering Paul at all, and the champs are knocked off in the first round.
Saturday night at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, the most anticipated fight of the century, Floyd Money Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, finally took place after a 5-year wait. Pacquiao seemed to be the fan favorite, but ultimately it was Mayweather who controlled the fight and won with a unanimous decision. Mayweather shut Pacquiao throughout most of the fight with his typical defensive strategy. Pacquiao had a clear game plan backing Mayweather against the ropes and unloading. However, Mayweather avoided shots, circled out, and clinched up, nullifying Pacquiao's game. Many believe Mayweather was playing too defensive. However, the total punch count was Mayweather with 435 to Pacquiao's 429. With this win, Mayweather maintains his undefeated record and could be the greatest fighter of our era.
The baseball season is starting to get into full swing, and both New York teams are sizzling hot. See how they fare this weekend next. Welcome back to LTCC Sports. There's no need to wait, so let's get back to it.
Alex Rodriguez added another chapter to his legacy by launching a 3-0 pitch off Junichi Tozawa into the Green Monster. Rodriguez, who didn't start on Friday night until he pinch hit for Garrett Jones in the 8th inning, connected for his first pinch hit home run of his career. Now at 660 home runs, A-Rod is tied for 4th all-time with the legendary Willie Mays. The Yankees and Red Sox squared off in another chapter of rivalry on Friday, and there's Alex Rodriguez, who was not in the starting lineup, but we will hear from him later. CC Sabathia, winless on the year, started for the Yankees and got an unexpected gift from a fan. Ryan Hannigan hit the ball down the left field line, and the fan challenges inner Steve Bartman and costs the Red Sox what would turn out to be a costly run. Instead of Xander Bogaerts scoring, Mookie Betts hits a dribbler right to Stephen Drew, and Sabathia escapes the inning unscathed, leaving the score 2-1 at the end of 4. On to the 8th inning, and guess who? Alex Rodriguez pinch hitting for Garrett Jones, who was one away from tying Willie Mays on the all-time home run list. And clearly the Red Sox fans know it. And are you kidding me? It's gone. Just like that, A-Rod is now tied with Willie Mays for 4th all-time on the home runs list and gives the Yankees the 3-2 lead over the Boston Red Sox in the bottom of the 8th. As the Yankees play-by-play announcer John Sterling would say, an A-bomb from A-Rod. On to the 9th inning now, and Andrew Miller, who just signed a 4-year, $36 million contract offer this past season, closes the door on the night and gets an 8-pitch save for his 9th on the year. Wow, what a game, and the Yankees improved to 14-9 in the year, and the Red Sox fall to 12-11.
The Marist baseball team took on Army last Wednesday in the Hudson Valley Baseball Classic game at Dutchess Stadium. The two teams ran a baseball instructional clinic for young local baseball stars before Marist claimed bragging rights in the Hudson Valley for at least the next year. Marist was swept in a 3-game series against Canadian.
And obviously we got a great day of weather and set an attendance record, but I think more importantly for us as a program to spend time and kind of get away from baseball and do the clinic is kind of unique, and it gives you a little bit of perspective and kind of gets you back to kind of that kid's game of just going out and playing and having some fun. And I think we carried that over, and we've got some momentum going right now with how we're playing. And I think the clinic, the game, the atmosphere, the fans, it really all plays together for us having a great day.
This is always an exciting day. It's always fun to work with the kids in the community, and to be able to do it with the Army guys is always fun too. Then in terms of the game, Army's always a tough competitor. They always give you their best, and that's what we expected. And it was good to finally be able to come out on top. I haven't personally won this since I was a freshman. I'm a senior now, so this is always an awesome day, a day everyone on our team always looks forward to, and it feels great that we were able to win it this year.
Just a really fun night, with the fireworks after, and being able to secure a win in the midweek. We're hot right now, going into a big series against Canisius. So I think just for us right now, it's good we're rolling. We're having some fun, and we're just trying to get ready for a big weekend.
Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, got on third. I honestly just blank myself out. I don't really think about anything. I just try and throw a pitch, make a pitch. Luckily, I got one that the guy fouled off into my catcher, Mark Swertfager's mitt. And, that was the end of the game. It was a strikeout. It was a big win for us as a ball club.
We had talked about earlier in the year that we wanted to be playing our best baseball at the end of April and early May. And I think we're starting to see that. Now, we run into some tough opponents, obviously, but to string together game after game after game, I think it just builds confidence and gives our guys a belief that what we're doing works, and if we just keep plugging away, that we'll be in a position where we want to be at the end of the year.
The Mets and Nationals face off against each other on Friday night in a pitching duel that featured Matt Harvey and former Cy Young winner Max Scherzer. Scherzer looked impressive very early on, striking out Juan Lagares here in the bottom of the third with 2 on and 2 out. And there's a nice strikeout for Scherzer. In the 4th inning we go. Lucas Duda punches out. But have no fear, Mets fans, Kadire is here, and he takes Scherzer to opposite field for his 3rd home run of the year and gives the Mets the 1-0 lead. Wow, what a swing it was. To the 5th inning we go, and Juan Lagares, just stop it. Are you kidding me? Robbing Ian Desmond of a base hit, and Harvey, a.k.a. the Dark Knight, loves it. To the 7th inning we go, and Harvey gets a pitcher's best friend against Ian Desmond yet again in a routine double play to end the inning and keep the score at 1-0. Daniel Murphy now at the plate in the 8th inning with the bases loaded and 1 out. And he hits the ball down the left field line, and Jason Worth falls over, and that will clear the bases and clutch yet another victory for the Mets as they score 3 more runs in the 8th to win the game 4-0. Harvey now improves to 5-0 on the year, while Scherzer goes down to 1-3 despite a 1.26 ERA on the season.
When we come back, get ready for your Marist Sports Update, along with your producer's favorite pastime, softball. Sorry, I want a little Ron Burgundy on that one.
The action.
The Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference has a new men's lacrosse champion. That's right. After a 10-year drought, the men's lacrosse team has secured a MAC title along with a trip to the NCAA tournament. The number 1 seeded Red Foxes defeated the Quinnipiac Bobcats 16-14. Junior Joseph Radin made history in the second quarter when he netted his 48th goal of the season, breaking the school's all-time single-season scoring record set in 1986. The win granted them an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, and they found out last night who they were playing in the first round. LTCC Sports had cameras there to capture the celebration. The Marist women's lacrosse team didn't fare as well as MAC opponent and number 1 seed Canisius has ended their season. The Red Foxes lost to the Golden Eagles 15-7 in the MAC semifinal game. After a 2-goal lead in the first half, the Red Foxes let the lead go and then eventually their season. Sophomore goalie Abby Witzak had 7 saves for Marist, but it wasn't enough as the Red Foxes end their season with an 8-9 overall record and 3-5 in the conference. Another Marist Red Fox team couldn't get the job done against Canisius this past Saturday. The Marist baseball team dropped 2 games of a doubleheader to the Golden Eagles, putting their record at 14-22 and 8-8 in MAC play. The Red Foxes lost the first game 4-2, the second game 5-1. Senior first baseman Steve Lorino went 3 for 6 combined in the 2 games with 1 RBI. The Red Foxes will return to action this Wednesday, May 6th, when they face St. John's in Poughkeepsie for a 1-game stand. Just because you don't have a Red Fox rain on across your chest doesn't mean you can't play competitive here at Marist. As LTCC reporter Stephen Bowering shows us, sometimes you can even have a deli on your jersey.
Here at LTCC Sports, you may think it's nothing but hard work and breaking news. But in our downtime, some of us take on a different challenge.
A true test of skill, athleticism, and endurance. Some may even consider it a crucible of one's character. I'm of course talking about intramural softball here at Marist College. It's the final week of competition, and that means one thing, the playoffs. After a tough loss, I caught up with this week's producer, Colin Hanrahan, who outlined the nature of the league and its community involvement.
Just a good time overall. Very competitive, which is nice. It's not like other intramurals where no one really cares. Take it pretty seriously. Obviously, we're sponsored by Campus Deli. They were a big help this year. The jerseys are pretty sweet. So yeah, it's just a good time to come out and have a great time with all your friends.
While late-inning drama ended the Campus Deli squad's season, they weren't the only members of our team giving it their all.
We are the Suicide Squeeze Jobs, and we've been doing this for two years. We started sophomore year, skipped junior year, and then started senior year.
Our very own Justin O'Brien was solid behind the plate in a back-and-forth contest ruled by solid defense. Directing our show this week is Zach Obed, who spent this scorching hot day manning the hot corner. After a walk-off win, the second game was not as kind. On the teleprompter this week is Steve Rahm with an inside perspective.
Top of the 7th, and we're up 3, and they made the hits, and we didn't make the plays. So, but this whole team and experience has been great. We've been playing together for 4 years.
With LTCC Sports, I'm Stephen Bowering.
The Baltimore Orioles and Chicago White Sox played in an empty stadium in Baltimore on Thursday amid riots that tore through the city over the past few days. It was the first time in baseball history that fans had been shut out of a game, but a few gathered outside the gates to the stadium to catch a glimpse of the forbidden event. However, the game was still televised and the media was allowed into the park. The Orioles won, but they didn't celebrate as the city is still recovering from riots. By closing the game, the Orioles have demonstrated that they want to keep the public safe and out of harm's way, since there may have been potential breakouts of violence if they had let fans in.
Well, we are in the stretch run here on LTCC Sports, but it looks like it's going to be a photo finish you don't want to miss. Make sure you keep it here.
Glad to see you. Stay tuned. Let's saddle up and ride this baby on home. The annual NFL draft commenced over the weekend in Chicago with the first round taking place Thursday night. The draft, as always, did not disappoint as there were plenty of stars that headlined the top of this loaded 2015 draft class. The first 2 picks came as no shock as Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected Florida State quarterback Jameis Winston with the first overall pick, and the Tennessee Titans selected this year's Heisman-winning trophy quarterback Marcus Mariota out of Oregon. After a college career full of off-the-field issues, Winston shared his thoughts on the challenges he will face as a rookie.
The challenge is just being an NFL player, period. You know, and I'm not worried about no off-the-field situations or even on-the-field situations. You know, I'm just worried about living this new lifestyle.
The 2 local New York teams also were selected in the top 10 this year of the draft, with New York Jets picking 6th overall and the New York Giants picking 9th. Even though Rex Ryan is gone, it was still a defensive first as the Jets used their pick to grab an absolute steal at number 6, selecting arguably the best overall player in the draft with defensive end Leonard Williams out of USC. It didn't take long for Williams to win over Jets fans as he stated that he hopes AFC East quarterback rival Tom Brady will be his first NFL sack. The Giants, who desperately needed offensive linemen, went with Eric Flowers, a 6'6", 330-pound tackle out of the University of Miami. Other big names included, first big names, 10 picks in the draft. Amari Cooper went 4th in the Oakland Raiders.
Mr. Irrelevant, one of everyone's favorite overhyped NFL draft coaches, described by draft analysts as a stiff-hipped, unfluid athlete who isn't really going to get open for you. Gerald Christensen, a tight end from Louisville, became the latest installment to Mr. Irrelevant when he was selected by the Arizona Cardinals with the last pick in the draft. Sure, he may not get the hype, money, or attention that his 255 predecessors do, but there is one thing Mr. Irrelevant gets over everyone else: a free vacation. Paul Salata, creator of Mr. Irrelevant title, annually awards Mr. Irrelevant with an all-expenses-paid week-long vacation to Newport Beach in South Carolina. Take that. Jameis Winston's $40 million. Gerald, enjoy the vacation, and best of luck in the NFL. It's not a bad deal, Steve. You get a little vacation at the end. Well, I'll tell you, I need a vacation after all the sports been going on this week.
Absolutely.
It's been an absolute wild week. We've been glad to be joined by you here. Next time, LTCC Sports.